Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author podcast. Hello Achievers, and welcome to episode number 92 in the year of 2022 of the Next Level Authors podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Daniel Wilcox, and here with me every week is
Sacha Black.
Happy New Year, Sacha.
Happy New Year.
We
and
say on the
year,
17th of December.
Yeah, may this year be better than last.
Yeah, we were just talking a little bit before we came on that like there is just a hesitation because the last few years have been so intense that it is difficult to like. I know for me, I'm like I love the whole fresh new year thing, but it is quite difficult to have that same excitement just because of uncertainty and everything else that's going on. But
we're both burned from the last couple of years.
And your coffee last week.
Yeah, and my coffee, my boob.
Is that healed yet? Are you okay?
Yeah, that's all it. Yeah, it's not as red as it was.
Okay.
So yeah, like I think we're both burned, and I think there is just hesitation because we don't know what the government is going to do to us, and so it's really hard to engage with planning, engage with like anything. So I say we all have a gin.
I thought you were literally gonna be like, I hope we all light a candle because you've literally for people on the podcast, you've just lit a candle.
I did light a candle. I wanted a nice aromatic smell in here. Yeah, so I mean, look, I am both equally filled with excitement for next year and dread. So yeah, it is what it is. So
well, hopefully people had a fun night on New Year's Eve, whatever that has brought. As we said earlier, it is the 17th of December as we record, so we have no idea what the next few weeks are going to bring. And you know, we might as well ask the question, not that anything has changed since last week, but how has your week been, Sacha?
We saw family. And
I love doing these.
Yeah, right. So we saw lots of family. We did all of the traveling miles, and then the last few days we've just chilled at home and we've played loads of games, and I've had some time with Atlas and I've read loads of books. I completed my reading challenge.
Hey.
Yeah, so it's been really nice. It's been the relaxing break that I needed. You know, I'm sort of still recovering from all the driving, and I can say that with absolute knowledge because that's what I do every year. Those Christmas days are mental every year because we drive 45,000 miles. But yeah, it's been good. How about you? How's your break?
I want to go back and listen to this like the day after and just see where that's at. Yeah, it's been good. Like I drank a bit too much Jack Daniels. I fucking dropped my phone on the fireplace and smashed the screen. Me and my dad no longer talk, and yeah, like. That's where it's at. So
and you got engaged and married in Vegas.
Did I? Holy shit. Wow. Wow, big end of the year to me. What I'm really trying not to do, because I've done this in the past, I don't know that I've mentioned this on the show, but I remember back in sort of 2013 or so, like I got to December and for some reason I literally was like, everything bad that I could do for my body, I did, because I was like, fuck it, 2014, Dan's going to deal with it. So I would like eat that extra slice of cheesecake. I would have all the desserts. I would just eat food. And over Christmas, I must have put on about half a stone, literally in my head, just going, 2014, Dan can deal with it. And 2014, Dan was pissed.
Yeah, I bet. I had my hair done. Not that you can tell right now, but I did have my hair done. Like, yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah. What's something that you've enjoyed this week?
Oh, come on. Being with family and friends, of course.
Yeah. Same for me. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
And we might as well, I think at this point, obviously, so we're recording this 2 weeks early, so we don't actually know where people are at, but just for people who have taken part in our quarterly challenge, we will be posting up and getting all the final tallies in for everyone who's eligible to win one of our 3 prizes. So get your comments in, let us know how you're getting on, and then we will announce all of that goodness next week so that we can start the next quarter challenge.
And in terms of level up, like, I don't think we should pick one person. I think we should actually do a shout out to every single listener, because genuinely the amount of people who have leveled up this year, the amount of people who have pushed and gone that little bit further, that little bit extra to try and achieve goals. You know, the number of people who've published for the first time, the number of people who've just finished a novel for the first time. Like, each and every fucking listener has something to be proud of. And so I just want to do like an end of year really big fucking congratulations to absolutely everybody who's listening, because like this does feel like a collective community of people who are trying to level up together. So yeah, massive well done to everybody who listens.
Love it. Yeah, and just like adding onto that as well, because you know I have to, because I'm me. Like one thing that I do love is seeing the different like size of the levels, because I think a lot of people are more likely to say I've leveled up once they have hit those big milestones. But like if you're, you know, new to this podcast, or if you're new to writing and you've just written your first page of something that you want to take seriously, that's a fucking level up too. So like no matter how big or small that thing is, like we want to hear it, and like it is just fantastically you're pushing forward on this journey. Patreon, I have no idea what's happening with Patreon. We have amazing patrons.
We do have amazing patrons, and we will have patrons announcements in the new year.
Yes, it is the new year, Sacha. Come on.
For
some reason, I'm not sure why this is on here. So on my notes, I've got the headers for the different sections. I've got Patreon, and then for some reason under the Patreon, I have the number 1,127,614. I don't know what that means.
Wow.
Literally zero idea.
I can't.
That's how many patrons we got over Christmas.
Wow.
I know. We have done fucking well.
We have
also realized I'm very sweary on this episode. That's fine. Notices, anything you want to shout about?
No.
Okay, I will do one more shout out to the mastermind. So for people who want to get involved in a challenge, make sure you commit to your goals, have people holding you to account, head on over to activatedauthors.com/mastermind, where I'll be taking a small group of authors through the challenge of hitting whatever it is that they want their goal to be. Weekly calls, community forums, access to me for questions, all that kind of thing. Like, it's there. So check it out, because I think this might be one of the last chances to get involved in that. We can't do comments. Just go straight into question of the week, really.
Yeah.
Have we done, what's the thing that you've enjoyed this week? Oh, we've done that. Christmas.
Yeah, spending time with family.
This is why we don't do back to back, because it's confusing. So my question of the week, and this will be a really, really interesting one, I think. So I am going back and revisiting something that we did at the beginning of this podcast. And I'd just be massively interested to know whether or not your answer has changed.
Do you know what my answer was? Okay. Are you going to tell me before? Or are you going to tell me after? Okay, excellent.
So the question, what is your definition of success?
I knew it was going to be this. I don't think my answer has changed. It may have evolved, which is a slight change. So I still want to be, like, the biggest definition of success for me is both numerical. It's numerical because there are consequences of having more money that will enable me to do the thing that I want to do. So still my goal is, before Atlas leaves school, is to be able to take him to another country for 6 weeks every summer. That is still the thing that I want to be able to do. I'm not there yet financially, but I would love to be. And the other reason that I'm not there financially is because Chloe only gets a certain amount of days off per year. And so in order to do that, I would probably have to finance her for a whole month of unpaid leave. Because I don't think they would let her take more. I think she can get up to 3 weeks, but she can't get more than 3 weeks. So yeah. So there is a financial figure in my head. That I may or may not have had previously. But that's probably more acute now. So my definition of success is still to do that for Atlas, to have control of my time, and to know that my future is secure. So I want to earn a certain amount of money because I want to know that I can look after my mum when she gets old and be able to afford to do that. And I want to be able to know that if I need a care home, I will have the money to do that. And so the financial figures definitely correlate with the consequences of why I need that money. And I would be very surprised if that wasn't my reasoning from before. And then there are other things that are new that I don't think would have been in there before. So I want to have an impact on young LGBT teens. So that is definitely new. So my definition of success will include some kind of leaving a crater in, you know, young teen LGBT lives. Don't know what that looks like.
What an analogy, smashing into their earth.
Yeah. So like there's definitely something along there. And then, yeah, just to like have a business that gives me freedom to have control of my time, have the ability to travel, have the ability to take trips and do things whenever I want to. And I think a couple of other things, another definition of success would be to be wholly independent. So not have any freelance or anything that I do for anybody else. I would, that's definitely like, this is really hard because when you say your definition of success, there are the big, you know, philosophical, intangible things like having freedom, having safety of future, having, you know, being able to give your son all of the things. But then there are the more tangible things like only working for yourself, making sure that you publish, you know, you've got a big back catalogue. That is a definition of success for me, is to have a big back catalogue of both fiction and non-fiction books. That probably wasn't on the list before. I feel like I'm forgetting things. Yeah, and to keep creating a life that makes me happy, I think. And in that happiness, that will involve some level of writing nonfiction and some level of writing fiction. But ultimately, I think the big things haven't really changed. I mean, there are other things like, you know, I would really like to have some recognition at some point, you know, whether that's an award or whether that's a Netflix show or whatever, I don't fucking know, but like I like that does that, but they seem less important. Do you know what I mean? They are still measures of success that they are on my big lists. So here's another thing. This year I have created a list of very significant names that I would like to have on my podcast. Like, so
I've got that.
Yeah, so like ticking off some of those names would feel like small measures of success, right? But like, if you ask me, like, I have lots of small measures of success, but I don't think that's the question you're really asking. So I could reel off a shit ton of small measures of success, hitting X amount of money per month, hitting, you know, getting asked to speak on Y stage, you know, like I can give you all of those, but I don't think they are as meaningful. They are the small successes that drive me on towards the bigger goal. And the bigger goal is still to have financial independence, be able to provide for my mum and my child after I'm gone, or you know, my mum in her old age, you know, and always being in control of my time and my ability to travel. And yeah, so I don't know, go on, tell me, what were my old ones?
Well, what I find really funny was, so this was we did the 0 episode. This was episode 1 where we asked that question, and the episode's 22 minutes long, which is normally like half of our intros now. So actually the amount of substance in that question, like it's very targeted, it's very focused. You shout at me a lot for like slowing things down and going off the rails. But like, so you've hit on a lot of the same things that you spoke about in that episode. But what I found very interesting is you've expanded on that a lot.
Okay.
And, you know, it's been nearly 2 years since we've asked this question. So you said originally definition of success comes back to a monetary goal. You want to run a 6-figure business.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like. You don't want to be a 6-figure author. You want to be a 6-figure business.
7, but yeah.
That's gone up. To surpass your old employment income.
Yeah.
And only working for yourself, and to create a future pot for your pension so you can look after your wife and son in the future.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you've kind of added bits, because you didn't mention the sort of like the yearly travel with Atlas and things as well in the previous one.
I didn't mention that.
No.
That was definitely still a thing. That has been a thing for several years, like probably since I started writing.
I've heard you mention that before.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that I didn't. Obviously, I've gotten more comfortable with confessing more things since.
Yeah. But it's nice to see that like a lot of that is relatively the same.
Yeah.
And I think I've deliberately not given myself too much time to think about my own answer, so I don't know where I'm going to go with this. But I'll just read what mine were to start with, because I think some of them have changed a bit. So my definition of success was sustainability. And particularly I was focusing a lot on fiction, writing what I want to write, having a supportive, hungry reader base that kind of supports the life that I want to live, so that I can basically be able to do what I want. And again, it was very narrow and very just to the point, just very surmised.
So what you're saying is, in our 2 years of podcasting, we've become waffling bastards.
Pretty much, yeah. But also, no, I think similarly to you with what you said about, being the asteroid that blows up the LGBT dinosaur community. I think that that's just the image that I have when it's like a meteor hitting the Earth. It's just a mass extinction.
Also, sorry, just so when did we record that show? Was that 2019? So it was only 6 months into us being full-time. March, so almost 20, a year into being full-time.
March 2020.
So a year into being full-time. Okay, and now we're almost 3 years into being full-time.
Yeah, that's madness.
Okay. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so similarly to you, and this idea of impact and legacy and things, I think one big definition of success that I'm coming back to is I like the idea of acting as a role model to help people come out of whatever funk it is and to find like the passion thing that they love in their life. And that's not necessarily restricted to authors. I have a real passion and a love for seeing someone who has, had a few years of tough times and they really find the fire inside of them again, and they rekindle that passion that they had from when they were like 12 or 13, whatever that like fun thing is that identifies them. So I love doing that with people and helping facilitate that sort of reignition and just letting people know that things are possible. So I think in the beginning, what I was looking at was myself and Bailey, and same with you, like my surrounding family. But as we've kind of gone on this journey, I do want to expand that and just see what impact I can have more broadly. And one thing that I've done actually, which I wasn't planning on reading out on this, but I have put together like just a sentence of what I want my life to be, which is to positively impact the world with imagination, story, and light. So like, I still want to tell stories that, give people entertainment. I want to show people that you can use imagination to create, a lifestyle that you want, and that, you're not just restricted to the only way of living is a 9-to-5 job. And then the light thing comes back to, I'm going to get a bit possibly pretentious here, but I'm going to go to a quote that kind of just lives completely rent-free in my head, which is, your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And I think that's literally what I've been doing, is as I've really tried to embody the type of life that I want, people have seen that journey, people have come into that bubble of that journey, and they've seen that it's possible. And then they start setting that as an example for other people. So I want to do a lot more of that. So success for me is kind of seeing the impact that the work that I do has on other people in a positive way. And then like sustainability hasn't changed. I still, the whole point of this is financial freedom and sustainability. One thing I will add as well is that I didn't before is, like you say, sort of like pension and retirement and being able to support other people at different stages of their life. Like, and just building upon that. But I think back where I was, particularly at that time, it was very much, like you say, we were a year into this job and I was very focused on like, what do I need to do for me?
Yeah, survival.
And now that's starting to like open up a bit more and go, okay, how can I, grow this while also offering something to other people as well?
I think that's a really common experience of most people who go full-time in this industry. Everybody is just like fucking like paddling like a swan, just trying to survive that first year. And it's only when you've sort of proved to yourself that you can survive after a year that you give yourself the brain space again to look at impact and what you want to do and legacy and stuff. So
yeah, I still can't believe we're nearly 3 years into this.
Neither can I.
But if you remember rightly, there was also a part 2 to the question. Which is, what is your biggest achievement to date?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. Surviving, fucking not having a nervous fucking breakdown at twat prime minister shut us down. I don't know. What do you know what I said?
Yeah.
Oh,
because it's also interesting because actually looking at the phrasing of the question against like our answers, there's a bit of a skew there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, I will answer without knowing what I said. I think there's possibly 3 that I would include there. Oh, this is hard. What is my biggest achievement today? I did say the surviving a bit facetiously, but I do genuinely think, given the timing of our quitting the day jobs, it is a bit of a fucking miracle that we did survive. Like, I don't actually know how we did that, but we did survive. And so there is something to be said about that. But I think I am really proud of having built such an engaged community, because the Rebel community is just lovely and so supportive, and it's lovely to be able to see that some of the things that I've written have helped people. And I'm really proud of that, and I really hope that I can continue to help people. So that was probably one of them. I think the second one is that I am really close to beating my old day job income this year, and that gives me 50 fucking shades of like satisfaction. So if and when I do that, I will probably be in a blubbering mess on the floor with just like the joy of fuck you to the corporate world. And then I think the other one, there's 2 more, sorry, and I know I'm cheating, but finishing Trey, because that book nearly killed me, and it's a small one, but like that book, I nearly didn't write fiction again. Like I literally nearly didn't write fiction again. So that definitely. And then the second one is that I've continued to grow and continued to learn. I've done an audiobook, which I never thought I would do. You know, I've taught masterclasses, which I never thought I would do. So yeah, I think there are lots of things that I have done that are new, that are different, that I've had to learn from scratch. And I'm really, really proud of myself for continuing to try, even when these things fucking terrify me. Like, because I think sometimes from the outside, people can be like, like she just, you know, barrels in and just gets on with it and blah, blah, blah. And like, honestly, I generally like really struggle with anxiety. I really struggle with confidence. I really struggle when something is new and I don't know how to do it. And so like, yeah, I'm just proud that given the level of like anxiety issues I have, and you know, like I nearly had a panic attack before my taekwondo exam, and you know, I was throwing up before the exam, and yet I still fight on and continue to go and do these things. So I'm really proud of myself. I think they have to be really big achievements. And of course, quitting the day job, but 3 years on, that doesn't, you know, like I've done more now than that, even though that may be still my biggest achievement ever. Like, I don't know, actually putting myself in that position. Yeah. So how about, what did I say?
Writing down the lessons you were learning and how that led to the formation of the Villains book. Do you know what I mean?
I'm expecting that.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow. What? I was not expecting that. Is that really what I said? That was my biggest achievement. I mean, it makes sense that I would say that. Fuck, what was I thinking? God pass, Sacha.
2 years changed so much.
Fuck. I mean, look, that's true, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. But like, that feels like a disc. That doesn't really feel like an, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like there is a slight disconnect. I don't know how.
How I ended up there.
Yeah. Hell. So I think mine is.
What was yours?
So mine was my investing in self-development for myself. And I think for the most part, that just hasn't changed. Like, I'm still very, very thankful for that. What has changed in the last 2 years is my embracing of that as more of like my public platform for which I go from. So again, back at that time, it was very much a focus on fiction. I was working sort of diligently to get When Winter Comes up and going, and I was working on anthologies and obviously the ghostwriting and things. I don't think, no, I hadn't at that point. I think I was maybe had the seed for writing collaboration, but I don't think I'd come anywhere near writing, because this was
you didn't
2020.
It took some badgering from me, I think, before you went into nonfiction.
So not that much though, because I published in June.
Yeah, but you wrote it in like a week.
Yeah, that's what everyone does. No, but yeah, so like I think broadly for the most part, the thing I still am, proudest, or question, what is the biggest achievement? The biggest achievement, I think it is investing in learning more about myself and productivity and just the human experience in general, because that has unlocked so much for me. And since we first aired that episode, as I say, things have kind of just started skewing in that direction. I've discovered audio clips from 2016 of me basically talking about this kind of stuff way before I thought I was talking about this stuff. And if anything, I now just embrace that a lot more, and it's nice to kind of be able to teach that and give that information to other people. So yeah, I think it's the same. I'm incredibly proud that I was able to get out of the day job, for me, because this is how my brain works. Like I still don't feel like I'm fully out of that until I stop ghostwriting.
Yes, I agree. My postman's here again.
Ugh,
I know.
Stop.
You keep talking.
Oh
Darren.
yeah,
you keep talking.
Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. But yeah, so it's just been a lot of like that stays very much static at the forefront of some of my biggest achievements. Like, I've sold lots of books, I've connected to lots of people. One thing that I am kind of coming back to a bit of what you said earlier in terms of like a dream list of guests to interview. The fact that I interviewed Josh Malerman at the end of last year was huge, not just because I'm a big fan of his work and he is doing massive things at the minute in the horror community, but just because the interview itself was just wonderful. If people haven't had a chance to listen to that, I'm sure we'll pop a link in the show notes, but it was on the Great Writer Share podcast. And we basically just spent an hour just geeking out about creativity and art and life. And like afterwards, he personally sent me an email saying that he really enjoyed the interview because I didn't go down the route that a lot of other interviewers did, which is kind of really what I wanted to do, because I can imagine that when you're the guy who wrote Bird Box, which then obviously went massive as a hit on Netflix and things, all the questions are about like, where did the idea come from? When did you write it? All those kind of very conventional things. And I just didn't want that, because I'm, as people know, much more interested in like the human behind and the process and the mindset and all that kind of thing. So yeah, for the most part,
the number one individualization.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most individualization thing you said all day. Love it.
That's what it is. But like, yeah, I'm still proud that is a direction that I headed. It wasn't a direction that I planned on going. It's one that on quite a lot of occasions makes my brain fizzy because of how much I think about that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's very much static there. Obviously, like it goes without saying that, I love my boy. I'm very proud of everything that he's doing. I'm proud that I managed to buy a house. That's a big thing. But in terms of biggest achievement, it's mindset, it's self-development.
I love that. I am just going to pause this podcast to bring you the post delivery that I've had, because I think it is the most me thing I've ever brought in my entire life.
Is this staying on the podcast or are we editing this out?
Yeah, no, okay. It can stay on the podcast. So this is a jumper that I found that says, I don't know if you can see, wears black, loves coffee, avoids people.
And it's black text on a black hoodie.
Yeah, like have you ever seen anything more me in your entire life? Like this is literally my new favorite thing. So I
love the feel of a new hoodie as well.
Oh my god, so do I. Like there is nothing I hate after they've been in the wash once. I like to delay that for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought I would share that because it did bring me deep giggles when I found it online. So
nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've come a long way in nearly 2 years, Sacha.
I am very surprised by the part 2 to that. Yeah.
That was your question as well originally.
Was it?
Yeah.
What's your biggest achievement? Wow. What the fuck was I thinking?
Don't know. I mean, it wouldn't take long to go back and listen. Like I said, it's 22 minutes long and we've already probably doubled that at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like a good little reflection, especially to start the year.
I am going to do something different that I haven't told you about. So I think that we should throw it out to our patrons to give us a question of the week that we can address. I think we did this once before, but I think we more said like patrons were asking general questions, which we tend to answer in the Q&A. So if you have a question that is like a question of the week that you think would be hard for us to answer or cheeky for us to answer, then for 2022, let's chuck it out. Not every week, obviously, but like if we get a load of questions, we can like slot them in over the course of the year, and I think that would be fun, so that we have to answer a question of the week from the audience as well. So I don't know, like, should we do that? Should we chuck that out?
I'm game for that.
Okay, cool. We will do that.
Love
and
that.
Maybe someone will remember to put that in the
she says writing it down.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Is there anything else you want to add before we close up episode 1 of 2022?
I just want to say that no matter what happens this year, our listeners are amazing. And I want to say that, echo what I said before in the Level Up, which is that I'm really proud of this community, and no matter what happens, let's just fucking charge ahead and try and smash shit this year as well. And I don't know, like, let's just fucking kill it, and also Bojo at the same time.
Go get it, people. You heard it here. And our question to you guys is, what is your definition of success? If you want to add a part 2 to that, for those who have been with us since the beginning, how has that changed since episode 1? And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writer Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
next level
authors.
All by then, Dan. All by myself. I wanna be all by myself. Something sarcasm. Blah blah blah.